Okay ka lang? Tumatanda na yata.
You ever spoken English with confidence, only to see an American pause for a second because they didn't understand what you meant? If that has happened to you, you're definitely not alone. In this video, we're counting down 10 things Filipinos say in English that Americans never say. Some of these expressions are so common in the Philippines that millions of people use them every single day, yet many Americans have never heard them before. Which one causes the biggest misunderstanding? Which one sounds completely normal to Filipinos but strange to us? Here's something interesting to think about. Before watching this video, did you know Americans almost never use that expression? Or was today the very first time you discovered it? Let us know in the comments, because your answer might be the same as thousands of other viewers. And trust me, the next expression is even more surprising. Number 9, close the light. Now let's flip the situation. Imagine leaving your classroom and the teacher says, please close the light before you go. Every Filipino student instantly understands the instruction. Nobody is confused because the phrase has been part of daily life for generations. Studies of Philippine English show that expressions like open the light and close the light remain extremely common in homes, schools, offices, and even some businesses. If we looked at a group of 100 Filipinos, a large majority would immediately understand and probably use these expressions without thinking twice. But if you say, close the light in the United States, many Americans will hesitate. They almost always say, turn off the light. The reason is simple. In American English, lights are turned on or turned off, not opened or closed. It's almost everywhere. So the next time you travel, remember that changing just one word can make communication much smoother. Have you ever accidentally asked for the comfort room outside the Philippines? If you have, what happened? We'd love to hear your story, because chances are someone else has experienced exactly the same thing. And believe it or not, our next word has an even bigger meaning difference that has surprised countless foreigners. Number 6, salvage. This next word surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. Imagine reading a news headline in the Philippines that says someone was salvaged. If you're Filipino, you probably understand the intended meaning immediately because the word has developed a unique local usage over many years. But if you're American, that headline would sound completely confusing. In American English, the word salvage normally means to save, recover, or rescue something valuable. People salvage a damaged ship, salvage useful materials after a storm, or salvage a business deal before it fails. The meaning is generally positive because something is being saved. In the Philippines, however, the word has historically been used in some news reports to describe victims of unlawful killing. That's a dramatic difference. Imagine how confusing that could be during an international conversation. One person hears salvage and thinks save, while another understands a completely different meaning based on local usage. Language researchers often point to this as one of the strongest examples of semantic change, where a word develops a new meaning within a particular country over time. Today, many journalists and language experts encourage using clearer, more direct wording to avoid misunderstanding, especially when writing for an international audience. Still, older generations of Filipinos may remember seeing this local usage regularly in newspapers and television reports. This example reminds us that learning English isn't only about memorizing vocabulary, it's also about understanding how words change across cultures and history. The same dictionary word can carry very different meanings depending on where you are. That's why context is so important. Have you ever learned an English word that meant one thing in the Philippines, but something completely different abroad? Tell us in the comments, because if you've ever worked in a Philippine office, visited a government office, or received an email from a local business, you've probably seen the word kindly more times than you can count. Messages like kindly send the document, kindly wait here, or kindly fill out this form are everywhere. For For Filipinos, this sounds respectful, professional, and polite. In fact, if you look through 100 business emails written in the Philippines, a large percentage would likely include the word kindly at least once. It has become part of everyday business English, but Americans don't use it nearly as often. In the United States, people usually say, please send the document. Could you send the document? Or simply, can you send me the file? To American ears, kindly can sound very formal, old-fashioned, or even a little stiff, especially in casual conversation. That doesn't mean it's wrong. The word is perfectly correct English. The difference is simply how often it's used. Filipino English has kept kindly as a normal everyday expression because schools, offices, and official documents have used it for decades. Imagine receiving two emails. One says, kindly submit your report before 5 p.m. The other says, please send your report by 5 p.m. Thanks. Most Americans would naturally write the second version. Meanwhile, many Filipinos would feel comfortable writing the first. It's a small difference, but it immediately tells experienced English speakers where someone probably learned English. Language experts often explain that Philippine English has developed its own professional style, influenced by education, government communication, and business traditions. That's why local English sometimes sounds more formal than American English. If you're planning to work for an American company or communicate with international clients, switching from kindly to please can make your English sound more natural to American listeners. But remember, using kindly doesn't mean your English is bad. It simply reflects a different variety of English. Have you ever written kindly see attached or kindly advise in an email? Be honest in the comments. Many viewers probably use those phrases almost every day without realizing Americans usually say something completely different. And trust me, the next expression is something every Filipino has heard around the dining table. Number 4, take your snack. Imagine visiting a Filipino home for the first time. Before you even sit down, someone smiles warmly and says, come on, take your snack. That's a sentence millions of Filipinos hear throughout their lives. It reflects one of the country's most admired traditions, hospitality. Whether you're a friend, a neighbor, or even someone visiting for the first time, food is almost always offered. The phrase sounds perfectly natural in the Philippines because it's part of everyday conversation. But Americans don't usually say, take your snack. Instead, you'll hear, have a snack, help yourself, grab something to eat, or would you like a snack? These expressions feel more natural in American English. The interesting part is that both people are trying to do exactly the same thing, making someone feel welcome. The words are different, but the kindness behind them is identical. Think about family gatherings, birthday parties, or holiday celebrations in the Philippines. It's common to hear relatives and friendly intention remains the same. Cultural habits strongly influence language, and food is one of the biggest examples. Surveys on Filipino culture consistently show that sharing meals is considered an important part of family life. That's one reason food-related English expressions have developed their own local style. Imagine inviting an American friend to your house and saying, take your snack. They'll probably understand from the situation, but they may immediately recognize that you're speaking Filipino English. It's a wonderful reminder that language reflects culture just as much as grammar. If you ever travel abroad, learning local expressions can make conversations sound even more natural, but never feel embarrassed about the way Filipinos speak English. These expressions tell a story about generosity and warmth. Now here's something I'd love to know. When visitors come to your home, what do you usually say first? Do you tell them to take your snack, or do you use another expression? Share your answer below because every family.
Know that only 10% of the world's population is left-handed? But wait, lefties aren't just unique. Have you ever caught someone staring at you, but the moment you notice them, they instantly look away? It happens in classrooms, on streets, at work, even with strangers. And your mind immediately starts asking, is something wrong with me? Did they judge me? Were they attracted to me? Why did they look away more about them than about you. And once you understand the hidden reasons behind it, you'll never see eye contact the same way again. Part 1. Humans are wired to observe. The human brain constantly scans people. Without realizing it, we check faces, emotions, body language, confidence, attractiveness, danger, and social status, all within seconds. So when someone looks at you, it doesn't automatically mean anything negative. Your brain simply became interesting enough to capture their attention. But the real psychology begins the moment you notice them noticing you. That's when instinct takes over. And most people immediately look away because direct eye contact creates psychological pressure. It suddenly becomes personal. Part 2. Eye contact feels emotionally intense. Eye contact is powerful. In psychology, or emotionally exposed, your eyes force people into a moment of connection. And many people unconsciously avoid that intensity, especially in today's world, where most communication happens through screens instead of real human interaction. Direct eye contact feels vulnerable, so they escape it quickly. Part 3. Sometimes they find you attractive. Here's something most people never realize. People often look away fastest when they are genuinely interested. Why? Because attraction creates anxiety. When someone finds you attractive, their brain becomes hyper aware of being caught looking. So the moment eye contact happens, panic kicks in. Your mind says, don't make it obvious. That quick look away is sometimes an unconscious attempt to hide interest. Especially shy people do this constantly. They look, get caught, retreat instantly. Not because they dislike you, but because your presence affected them emotionally. Part 4. Confident people hold eye contact longer. Confidence changes eye contact completely. People with high confidence usually maintain calm eye contact because they don't fear social judgment as much. But insecure people often break eye contact quickly because they fear being evaluated. In psychology, avoiding eye contact can sometimes reflect social anxiety, low self-esteem, intimidation, fear of rejection, or emotional discomfort. So if people quickly look away from you often, it may not mean you're awkward. Ironically, it could mean your presence feels psychologically strong to them. Part 5. Your brain makes it bigger than reality. Now here's the dangerous part. Most people overthink these moments. One glance becomes, they hate me, I look weird, I embarrassed myself. But the truth is, people are usually trapped inside their own thoughts. Most quick glances are unconscious, and most people forget the interaction within seconds. Your brain magnifies tiny social moments because humans are biologically wired to care about social acceptance. Thousands of years ago, rejection from the tribe meant danger, so your mind still treats tiny social interactions like survival situations, even when they're meaningless. Part 6. The hidden power most people miss. Here's the hidden psychology nobody talks about. People tend to look away quickly from individuals who carry strong presence. Presence doesn't always mean attractiveness. It can mean confidence, mystery, calmness, emotional control, uniqueness, or intense energy. Some people naturally command attention without speaking, and when others feel psychologically seen by them, they instinctively break eye contact first, because eye contact silently creates a power dynamic. The person who stays calm often appears more confident. So the next time someone looks at you, then quickly looks away, don't instantly assume something negative. Human behavior is far more complicated than that. Sometimes we're curious.
Hi, we architect here. Bago tayo magsimula, topic, ask and Ako. Yung bebe ko. pagka nagkaroon ng malakas na acceleration ng ating o yung ihip nito or galaw, especially kung meron bagyo, ay nagkakaroon ng upward pressure sa ilalim nito ang mundo. Or familiar sa aerodynamics, meron itong tinatawag na upward pressure pag ang hangin ay dumadaan ng mabilis over the
Ay, lipat mo daw dito yung ano, treadmill.
ganun din.
Iyak ka mo sa treadmill.
Again, nagkakaroon ng upward pressure sa baba ng ating buhok.
Lipat mo
Sobrang
dito yung
malakas.
treadmill. Ito lagi.
Causing it na makain o
Lipat mo daw yung treadmill.
matuklap
Ano gagawin mo, boy?
bahay.
Ilang ka ba na yung ogi? Ito.
Ang pressure sa loob ng ating hindi siya
Kapag sa mangiyak eh. Ha? Ano sa mo?
kaya bukas like
Ano yung ulit?
buksan din yung mga